Hey guys, what is going on? Harrison back with another tutorial video for Pygame for Bucky in the new Boston. So where we left off, we just downloaded Pygame and made sure that we could import it. And now we're ready to talk about basically the skeleton of Pygame. So what are the required things that must be here for Pygame to work? So first we have import Pygame from the last video. Easy enough. We have to import the module to actually use the things from the module. Now what's the next thing that is absolutely imperative that we have? That is pygame.init, and init is short for initialize, and what this is going to do is it's going to initialize all of the Pygame modules, so to speak, that we're going to use. And actually most of the time you'll just see people say pygame.init, but this pygame.init actually does return to you something. So if the initialization of a module doesn't work, you're not going to get any return on why or what happened or that something didn't work. But if you do want one, just for future reference, you can, this function init does return a tuple which is successful initializations and unsuccessful. So you could say x equals pygame.init, and that will return something, and then so we could print x. We'll run that in a moment. So you can see what I mean. Actually, let's go ahead and run that now, and then I can get rid of that because that's not really necessary to see. So anyway, 6-0, 6 successes, 0 failures. We're all set. So that's just a quick aside about pygame.init. So you have to have pygame.init. The next thing that you have to have is your surface. So you have to get your surface, and what a surface is it's kind of like the background or the canvas of what you're going to draw your objects to, and then you update that surface to like the user's screen basically. So first we need that surface. So we're going to call this game display, and this is going to equal pygame.display.set_mode. And in here we're only going to put one parameter for now, and this parameter is a tuple. It must be a tuple, and you're probably going to forget, I know I've forgotten a few times, to make it a tuple. You're just going to throw it in here and you're going to have a problem. But for example, if we wanted our window to be 800 pixels wide, 600 pixels tall, that is what we would type. Now it's obviously very easy though to do this. And now you've got 2 function parameters instead of what you meant to be just one as a tuple. And 800, 600 is actually a valid tuple, but when you pass that through a function, it's going to treat 800 and 600 as different function parameters, so we can't do that. You can also make this a list. Most people make it a tuple, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that as a tuple, since that's how you're usually going to see it. So that's game display. That's going to return a pygame.surface object. So game display will be our surface. So whenever we do stuff, we're going to be doing it to game display, and then we're going to update it. So speaking of update, let's talk about that now. So you're going to see pygame.display.update, and you're going to see this most often, but there is actually another function that's completely interchangeable with this, at least in this form, and that would be pygame.display.flip. So right now, these 2 functions do the exact same thing. So what's the difference? It's necessary to know the difference for sure, because you're going to see some people use flip, and then you're going to see a lot of people use update, and you might not know what the difference is, and you might actually not ever even know flip even exists, because almost everyone uses update. So pygame.display.flip it's called flip, and you can think of it like a flip book, and that's the way most games work. Our game is going to work a lot like a flip book, and what is motion in the game is only perceived motion. It's actually just, a frame, and then you make an update and you show another frame with a slight change, and you keep slightly changing things, and you give the appearance of motion, but it's not really motion. So it's like a flip book. If you've ever made a flip book and you draw things, you just barely change everything every page, and then when you go to flip all through the pages, it looks almost like you made a movie. And that's how and why this is called flip. So flip is going to update the entire surface all at once. Pygame.display.update is only going to update the specific area that you mention or tell it to update, but if you put no parameters in this function, it's going to update the entire surface. So for that reason, you rarely see people use pygame.display.flip. It just doesn't get used that much, but in case you see it, that's what it is. It's the same thing. Now, that's basically required for your game to run. The next thing you need, although just as a note, nothing is going to run. So you have pygame.display.update there, but then you'd have some code down here, some more updates, and that kind of stuff. So we'll get to that. But finally, to actually exit Pygame, you need two things. First, you have to have a pygame.quit. And what pygame.quit is going to do, obviously, is going to quit Pygame, but what it's actually doing is uninitializing Pygame. So we initialized all those things here. Now we're uninitializing them here. Finally, you must have a quit. You have to call that, and then that's what's going to exit out of Python. So let's go ahead and run this real quick. And what you're going to see is a window just pops up and goes away really quick. So that's this window. As soon as it's initialized, it's updated, and then we quit. And just as a side note, the reason why we see this question here, like, are you sure you want to quit, is because we're in IDE. If we close this and we were to actually just run it from the script itself, you'll see a window just pops up and it goes away, and there's no asking like questions. So when you actually go to run this game, no problem. So with that, those are the bare basics and the skeleton, if you will, of Pygame. So now what we're going to be talking about in the next video are kind of like, I guess, the muscles, if we're going to continue this analogy, are the muscles to Pygame, and then we'll kind of go into logic of Pygame and all of that. So it'll be good fun. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.